Good morning, loves. Well, it's still that sort of time that I consider morning because I've still got some coffee left, but it is actually 10 minutes to 1. And yes, I'm running late again. These days, the situation with my foot just makes everything in the morning go slow as molasses. And I had trouble getting going today because yesterday Rachel was here to help me in the afternoon from like 2 to 4:30, and as soon as she left I started in on my blog post. As any of you who've looked in the room or on my blog or social media or whatever, I did kind of an experiment yesterday, which I absolutely loved and I'm going to do more of when I have a topic that is really deep to me and that I really want to explore, which was the art of accepting what is. Now, this has been something I've been really thinking about and making a lot of notes about, and since I took my fall, because my life really at 66, already being disabled, and then having taken a bad fall, and at my age, something will happen every now and again. Never mind the recent medication debacle and what I deal with the mental health issues. And I take very good care of all of that as much as I possibly can. But I am very much at a stage of life and a stage of physical well-being where accepting what is crucial to my life, to my day-to-day life, to my body, to my work, to the ways that I can contribute to the world. All of those things have to start with accepting what is. And it is the first time in a very long time that I have moved into work which is very related to work that I used to teach and ways in which I used to mentor women about mindfulness. But it's more than mindfulness. It's different, it's deeper for me, the accepting what is. Being mindful is a very good thing. I practice it, I have taught it, but the art of accepting what is, and it's all part of Maisie's world. Maisie has accepted that she is agoraphobic, that she has certain limitations, and yet, having accepted what is, and fully accepting and embracing who she is, she has been able to create this incredible world. There's a lot of inner work that I do. And I have realized something that, again, I hate to keep using the word deep, but it's what keeps coming to me. There's something very deep about the connection of my inner life and the painting. Because I am thinking and feeling and processing and writing about a lot. But most of that people don't see, except for blog posts. What they see, what they can see, what I'm comfortable sharing, is transformed into Maisie's art. So Maisie's art, I have realized, is the outer manifestation of everything that I am, that I do, that I think, that I feel, that I love, that I want to share. I want to help people. It's as though I've lived a life, and I'm still living a life, as we are. Hope to be around to live some more for a good long while, because I have a lot of work I want to do. But we live these lives, and there will be hard times, frightening times, scary times, sad times. All of that exists in all of our lives. There's just no way of getting around it. But Maisie's world is a place where I celebrate and make manifest in a physical form all the good things. I have been through, done therapy about, written about all the hard stuff. Struggling with mental health, long-term childhood abuse, all of that stuff, I'm done with it. It was in my past. It still affects who I am today, but to a lesser degree than it used to. I think the ways in which the hard things affect me now is having deepened my sense of compassion and empathy. And I have an extreme sensitivity. I can't tell you how many people or therapists through the years have wanted me to read about the highly sensitive person because they say that's what I am. Well, that, it's not a big surprise, but it was an interesting book. It really, especially people who've never thought in those terms, it's a very helpful book. But I have begun to see and feel the truth, the reality. I have a deeper understanding of what Maisie's world is. And I have to send a huge thank you to all of you who are here supporting me. Because it's like all of these things were somewhere in my consciousness, but it wasn't until I started Patreon. I think I said this last week. It's a different thing to be a person who lives alone, creates in solitude and silence, does all her creative work in that way, which I always have and I always will and I've always loved. But it goes to a whole, and you hope people in the world are reading, listening, hearing, being helped by whatever your work. But unless someone leaves a comment or buys a thing, like when I was making my fiber art or whatever, you don't really know. You send your whole heart and soul out into the world, and for the most part, you don't really know, and you don't have that sense of how your work is landing in the world. Patreon changed all that. I know that we're a very new community. We're not a gigantic community, but we are a perfect community, just as we are. You are exactly what I needed to get started, to get going. The sense of purpose I have about showing up to do these videos in the morning, about learning to arrange my work in a certain way so that I can produce content, has really made me take a hard look at the last 25 years of work that I've done. And that has caused Maisie's world to expand. And that's why you've gotten so many different things, from quotes to journal exercises to thoughts to all this stuff I've given you. I wasn't really sure what I was going to offer. I mean, it was going to be about Maisie's art and making Maisie's book, and it still is, but it's so much more. And I had to start Patreon and be supported by you wonderful people, you lovely, loving, I treasure you. You've given me a reason to be. And to that end, I've been doing, not only making, my notepad here, which is kind of my Maisie sketchbook, but since I've been late, I've been using it to make pages and pages of notes. And done a lot of research online about Patreon, about other creators, about how they view their work and how they present it. And I'm talking about writers, musicians, artists, all different kinds of people that use Patreon. And I realized something, and that is that Patreon isn't about I make a thing for you to give you at a certain pledge level. Some people do that. Some people provide physical things that they hand make and mail out to their patrons. And for the most part, what they'll tell you later, they do less. If they're in it for the long haul, they do less and less of that over time, because they get so caught up in providing physical content that has to be mailed out that they don't even have time to do their work anymore. What Patreon was created for, and how it works best, and how the most successful people on Patreon work it and use it, like Amanda Palmer with almost 16,000 patrons, is they use Patreon as it was meant to be used, which is patrons who like a creator or the work they are producing and want to help and support them so that they can do their work and create things and birth their work in the world, are there not to receive a pin, a magnet, a sticker, a whatever. They are there supporting the patrons so the patrons can do their real work, can develop it. Amanda Palmer's supporters, patrons, are helping her make an album which takes place over time, and so forth. So what I realized was it kind of changed my perspective, both about how I want to use Patreon and how I can use the support that I receive from you, lovely patrons, and any ones to come, to help me get my work made and accomplished. What I mean to that end, I'm so sorry, my nose itches so bad. I'm so sorry. I have not started additional tiers from the beginning yet, because I felt like I had to have a finished perfect thing before I could. But that's not what Patreon was created for. Patreon was created because with the additional support, as you grow, you can grow the work, you can make the work. So I've told you, November 1st, which is this coming Sunday, the day after Halloween, I will be opening the second tier, which I've explained to you, and I'm going to put something up in the room. I'm working on it these next couple days, all about what's going to happen on November 1st, what the second tier is about, which is creating Maisie's world, making the art. And people who are really interested in Maisie herself, in the creation of Maisie and her world, and what it means via the making of the art, the drawing, the painting, developing the ideas that become the drawing and the painting, seeing still shots and video, short videos, like I explained before. I don't know how to do the big long ones with lots of editing, but I'm going to learn. But it is the support that I get from people who support me at that tier who will help me develop that art. And in having patrons support me at that tier, I will have the impetus to do something about Maisie's art every day. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be doing whole paintings in a day or anything, but I am very, very structured in my life. Part of living with mental illness and making it possible for me to do work is to live with a very strict structure. I've often told people when they talk to me about being bipolar that my routines are so necessary to me. It is like every day I have a ladder to climb. Each rung of that ladder is a very important step I have to take to get through the day. And it is as if, and I know this sounds dramatic, but during my hardest times with my mental issues, if I miss a rung of the ladder, it feels like I'm falling to my death. So when I schedule these things in, when these things become part of my routine, they are there and I will do them. If I have to take a day off here or there to rest because I'm having a hard time, that may happen. I've been honest about that from the beginning, but it won't happen often and it won't be for long. Some days I just have to be quiet. But mostly, when I say I'm going to have the second tier, and it's going to be about Maisie's art, that moves me to create that content every day. So even if it's just a little, it might be a doodle, it might be me painting, it might be me putting together Maisie's new palette in the boxes that I got to do that, which I was about to do when I took my fall. So as soon as my foot gets I have to be able to sit at my desk and go through all kinds of paints, and that will happen. I have other paints here. I have a big jar of water and my paint brushes are right next to me on my table now. I will be painting today. But so anyway, November 1st, the $10 tier will open. But I am going to be adding a third tier, November 1st at the same time. I have created, and I said this yesterday, I don't know if you watch my Sunday videos or read my blog posts, what I'm about to say, I said all of that yesterday in my Sunday video. But I have had multiple small presses in my life that were very successful. I have created beautiful ebooks that I'm proud of. I have created e-courses, which I loved doing and which were successful. All of these are things that are in my wheelhouse that I have done and done successfully and enjoyed doing. But to move me to a place like where I am with Maisie's art, Maisie's art's a done deal in the sense that it's already so much in me and part of me. I mean, there's no doubting that whether or not I do it, I do it. In a sense, it could be called Maitri's world, because Maisie is my alter ego, and everything about Maisie has come through me, from my life, from my experience, from my fantastical imagination. But there's a purpose behind it. Everything, even the things that look, the fantasy and fiction parts, like the little alien that I've been working on integrating into the story, that is my way of saying love people, love whomever, animals, people, whomever, that don't look like you, that aren't where you came from, that you are not able, perhaps in language, even to communicate with really well. But when you come from a deep well of love inside of you and have compassion, that's the way I express it, by Maisie accepting the little alien. So anyway, we're at 19 minutes, but I'm just going to get this last thing in. The third tier will be all about the art of accepting what is. I am going to be creating an ebook. I am going to create down the line, not right away, an e-course. And how this tier will function, people at the third tier will not only be supporting me to create this content, they will share in the process. The way I do an ebook is to create a page at a time. It is very artfully done. It might be a quote, it might be something like an essay, it'll be art involved somehow. I mean, it's beautiful when it gets done, but I do it a page at a time. The people who are supporting me at that level will not only be supporting me financially to help me to create that content, but will share in the process so that as I create a page, they'll see it. They'll see the bits and parts and pieces and pages and whatever all along the way. They will receive those pages at that level. And then when the ebook is finished, they will receive a downloadable of the finished ebook, in other words. Having trouble with my words today. And then they will be with me to develop the e-course. And they will be able to take the e-course for free at that level. And on down the road, as time goes by, that will be the level that will support me doing other ebooks, other e-courses, and exploring other subjects that I think are important, that might help and heal others, bring comfort, solace, and be a vehicle for my teaching, which I've done for 40 years and which is very important to me. Setting up these tiers in this way, I'm kind of a multitasker. Part of that probably has to do with being bipolar in the best possible sense. I don't usually just do one thing at a time. So the first tier that you all are on will always be exactly as it is. The morning coffee videos are at the first tier. All of the content I've been sending you, everything you have been getting, if you are at the $5 tier, you will always get that. That will not change. The way Patreon works is, as you go up through the tiers, say the $10 tier or the $20 tier, you not only get what you're paying for at that tier, you get everything that came before. So if you pledge at the $10 tier, you get everything from the $5 and $10 tier. If you subscribe at pledge at the $20 tier, you'll get everything that comes at the $5, $10, and $20 tier. And I mean, that's probably too much content for most people to deal with on a daily basis, but it's always there. And when you feel like looking at the art, watching a video, getting pages of an ebook being created, and you can download it and print it. I don't care what you do with it. If you're my patron, you get this content. It is copyrighted and it is not meant to go beyond you, the patron. It is not meant to be printed and shared with anyone, and I know you all will respect that. But I'm very excited about this because this work has been in me and wanting to be born, and I have not been able to figure out how to do it, and now I have. Other tiers will come down the line, no time soon, because these 3 tiers form the basis of all the work that I do. My writing, art, teaching, mentoring, making ebooks, creating e-courses, all of these things, as I have looked back through my material, are what I've done in my life, what I've loved doing, what I have successfully done, and what I want to do again. So anyway, folks, we're 24 minutes. I do apologize. I'm going to let you be, and I'm going to finish my coffee, and I'm going to have a date with Maisie. And I love you all so much. I appreciate you more than you could possibly know. And if there's any way you wouldn't mind sharing links, Sunday the day that I upload the second and third tiers would be the best possible time, because if you can share www.patreon.com/Maisie's World on Sunday or after, people can see all three tiers. And as I said, if your $5 payment goes through and you decide to upgrade to one of the other tiers, you don't lose anything. They just add the rest of, like, if they've already taken $5, they'll take an extra $5. Or if you do the $20 tier, whatever. And of course, you can always quit anytime. You're not obligated to do more than you want to do. So anyway, that's me today. 25 minutes on the 26th of October. We are rocking this, guys. And I love you all to the moon and back. Have a great day.